Welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. I am Fan for Racing Sharon, and joining me today for the Texas preview for the NASCAR Cup Series is Jay Huseman. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Thank you, Sharon. We're talking about the top series at the, I'd say top track, but big track at Texas. You got Big Hoss going to be one you get to watch a little bit this weekend. That's certainly one of the bigger and better in Texas.
But this weekend, we have the Wurth 400 presented by Liqua Moly at Texas Motor Speedway. It is a 1.5 mile asphalt oval. So we're back to the 1.5s, Jay. They'll be racing on Sunday, May the 4th, starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Fox Sports 1 will carry the coverage starting at 2 p.m. with their pre-race show. And then PRN and SiriusXM NASCAR Channel 90 will also be offering coverage. They will be racing a distance of 400.5 miles over 267 laps. And stage 1 will end on lap 80. Stage 2 is 85 laps ending on lap 165. And then the final stage will be 102 laps ending on lap 267. I do want to go over how you can watch this weekend. On Saturday, they will have the NASCAR Cup Series practice and Busch Light pole qualifying. That will be on Amazon Prime, PRN, and SiriusXM starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's Saturday, May the 3rd. Then the race, of course, is on Sunday, May the 4th. And that will start, as we indicated earlier, at 3:30 p.m. on Fox Sports 1, PRN, and SiriusXM. I know you've been looking at the entry list, Jay.
The entry list here for the Cup Series Wurth 400 is interesting. I'm going to use the word interesting. There's 38 teams for 40 spots, so nobody's going home. But the two open teams, the number 62, which I believe is a Beard Motorsports, if I'm not mistaken, okay, Sharon's agreeing with me, that's going to be Jesse Love. So I get the feeling they're going to have some heavy support from Richard Childress Racing. That's a guess. The other is the number 66, and that will be Chad Fincham in it this weekend. So I find that quite interesting.
And then what's our historical data here?
Well, this weekend's going to mark the 45th running of a NASCAR Cup Series race at Texas Motor Speedway. It's the 13th since the reconfiguration and the third scheduled at 400 miles or 267 laps. Remember, they cut it back from 500 to 400.
Okay, now the last 8 Cup Series races at Texas Motor Speedway were won by 8 different drivers. The track record is 13 different race winners between 1998 and 2007. So it sounds like we've got another streak well in progress here.
Well, and to even be that close to that 13, I remember when Texas opened in 1998 and came on the Cup Series, and that streak kept going year after year. 13 races at one track to have 13 different winners was phenomenal in my opinion. So maybe we can get closer to tying that this weekend. Now, a total of 24 drivers have won a Cup Series race at Texas, and 8 of those 24 are active this weekend. Kyle Busch, well, this is probably going to shoot that plan of no repeat winners. Kyle Busch, 2013, 16, 18, and 2020. Denny Hamlin had a 2010 sweep, and then 2019. Then you got Joey Logano in 2014, Austin Dillon in 2020, Kyle Larson in 2021, Tyler Reddick in 2022. In 2023, it was William Byron, and then Chase Elliott in 2024. And yeah, looking at that list, I'd have to say that streak is in jeopardy.
Yes, we've got some really amazing competition there. Now, Chase Elliott's most recent win came with Texas last April. His current 37 race winless streak is his second longest of his career, behind 42 race winless streak that he ended at Texas last year. So maybe he can end another streak this year with another victory.
Looks like a good place for him to do it. Now, Brad Keselowski finished top 10 in his last 6 Texas races, the longest active top 10 streak.
Okay, another Brad Keselowski tidbit here. He is winless at Texas, but has 4 runner-up finishes there, including the same race last year that Chase Elliott won. So it was Brad Keselowski coming in second.
Now, those are the good news. The bad news is Brad is looking for his first top 10 finish at 2025. He had 4 top 5s and 5 top 10s after 10 races in 2024. It has been a horrible start for Brad Keselowski.
It has been. It has been. Chase Briscoe has an average finish there of 9.0 at Texas Motor Speedway. That's the best all-time by any driver. Tyler Reddick ranks second all-time at 9.3. So kind of amazing that that's the best average finish that we have at Texas. It tells you how hard that track is.
For sure. And again, the variety we've seen, and we've seen that amongst manufacturers. Chevrolet won the last 4 Texas races, but that's the longest streak ever by a make at the track. Again, it's a variety of drivers and a variety of manufacturers.
It is. Hendrick Motorsports drivers, though, won 3 of the last 4 Texas races with 3 different drivers. Chase Elliott won in April last year, as we mentioned earlier, but William Byron won the race in 2023. That was in September, and Kyle Larson won the fall race in 2021. So all 3 of those drivers are in the race this weekend.
And I'll tell you what, I heard an interview with Alan Gustafson, Chase Elliott's crew chief. They got a lot of confidence going into this weekend, so look out for all of the HMS.
I bet they do.
Now, a total of 27 different drivers have won the pole at Texas Motor Speedway. 6 of those 27 are active this weekend. Brad Keselowski has a pair in 2015 and 2022. Then Kyle Busch in 13, Austin Dillon in 16, Ryan Blaney in 2018, Bubba Wallace in 2023, and Kyle Larson in 2024. And I see a lot of the same names as far as poles and winners, couple of exceptions of Ryan Blaney and Bubba Wallace, but maybe they can get their win this weekend.
That would be great. Okay, now last April, they tied the track record for the most cautions. It was originally set back in September of 22, which was a 500-mile race compared to last year's race that was just at the 400-mile race. It was the most ever cautions in a 400-mile race at that 1.5-mile track. So pretty interesting stat there.
Well, and it leads into the next one. The final green flag stretch was 6 laps or less in 3 of the last 4 Texas races. That means those cautions come late as well.
Yes, they do. 4 times the driver running second in this race last year was involved in an accident. Michael McDowell on lap 143, Wallace on lap 173, Hamlin on lap 266, and Chastain on the last lap. So second place doesn't sound like the place you want to be.
I remember that. I kept thinking, be like, don't go from second, go from third to the lead. Don't settle into second.
Yes, yes.
Now, Denny Hamlin leads all drivers in laps run in the top 5 and the top 10 at Texas in the next-gen car.
But it's William Byron leading all drivers in points earned at Texas in the next-gen car.
And now we're going to just talk about 1.5-mile tracks in general, as we got 3 or 4 of those coming in a row, I think, here. The last 6 races on 1.5-mile tracks were each won by a different driver.
Kyle Larson with 3 is the only repeat winner in those last 9 races on 1.5-mile tracks.
And the pass for the win came in the final 7 laps in 4 of the last 7 races on 1.5s.
Now, twice the NASCAR Cup Series race at Texas Motor Speedway has concluded with a last lap pass for the win. That happened in April of 2007 and also in April of 2014.
All right, we said to watch out for Hendrick Motorsports, and I'm going to fill you in as to why. Kyle Larson's 9 wins on 1.5-mile tracks ranked 5th among active drivers. All 9 came in his 31 starts on them with Hendrick Motorsports. And that's 29% win percentage of them come with Hendrick.
Now, Alex Bowman, another Hendrick Motorsports car, finished in the top 10 in the last 7 races on 1.5-mile tracks, the longest active streak, and his career longest streak of top 10s on a 1.5-mile tracks. Next driver isn't from Hendrick Motorsports, though.
And it's not a good one either, unfortunately, for Ford. Ryan Blaney has finished in the top 10 in only 2 of the last 8 races on 1.5-mile tracks, has finishes of 32nd or worse in 5 of them.
Yes, another driver that's just had a horrible start to the season. I hope things turn around for him soon. Now, Kyle Busch finished outside the top 10 in the last 6 races at 1.5-mile tracks. He's on a 10-race streak without a top 5 finish on that size of a track, the intermediate track. So some unfortunate stats here for some of these drivers.
Yeah, Kyle Busch, another one looking for a little bit of a turnaround on this season. Now, all 3 of Ryan Preece's top 10 finishes on 1.5-mile tracks came in the last 3 races. So there's a positive. We'll start looking at some more positive.
With Kyle Larson's stage 1 win at Talladega, he passed up Martin Truex Jr. for the most stage wins in Cup, 67. So that's amazing. 67 stage wins. He's definitely over the years been racking up playoff points with that.
Well, and I know when stage racing first came about, I think Martin Truex is one that team at that time with Furniture Row really understood the importance of them. I think other teams kind of had to follow suit on that.
Yes, they showed how important they were.
Exactly. Now, 3 of the top 4 endpoints are Hendrick drivers. William Byron is in first, Kyle Larson in second, and Chase Elliott in third. And all 4 drivers are ranked in the top 9. Alex Bowman moved up to 9th. He was 10th a couple of weeks ago. But at one point in the season, they were in the top 5. Actually, yes. Bowman was tied for 4th, but ranked 5th.
Yes. All right. Now, 26 top 10 finishes are the most ever by Hendrick Motorsports through 10 races and are the second most all time through 10 races behind Joe Gibbs Racing with 27. And that happened in 2019.
Yeah, Hendrick is not one that needs to turn their season around. They're just turning it up. Kyle Larson is the one leading all Cup drivers with 503 laps led in 2025. William Byron ranks 2nd with 364.
All right, and Hendrick Motorsports drivers also have won 5 of the last 6 stages.
One last one to throw at you. It's Chase Elliott. He's the only driver to finish inside the top 20 in all 10 races so far this season.
Well, we're going to skip Hendrick Motorsports one time and then go right back to it. Denny Hamlin is the only driver to finish on the lead lap in all 10 races so far this season. His current streak of 21 straight lead lap finishes is the strongest active streak and his second longest streak behind 23, in which he did in 22 and again in 23. So pretty amazing.
That is indeed. Now, William Byron said we're going to go back to Hendrick Motorsports. Got William Byron's average start of 10.3 is the best of all drivers in 2025.
Well, let's stay with William Byron for one more. An average finish of 8.5 in 2025 leads all drivers and is the best by a Hendrick driver through 10 races since Jimmy Johnson did it in 2013 with 7.0.
Well, that's pretty good when you're being compared with Jimmy Johnson.
It is indeed.
Now, Kyle Larson's 6 top 5 finishes and 7 top 10 finishes on the year are his most ever through 10 races in a season.
And Hendrick Motorsports is the only team with at least one car finishing in the top 5 in all 10 races this year. No other team had at least one car finish in the top 10 in 10 races this year. So that just tells you how dominant Hendrick Motorsports has been so far.
And don't expect that to change, as it didn't at Talladega, because that was the third race in 2025 that HMS had 4 cars finish in the top 10 through only the 10 races. The last season, Hendrick had 3 races with 4 cars in the top 10 was in 2014, and that was for a total of 5 races.
Incredible stats. The 285 lead changes this year are 4th most all time through 10 races. So there's another streak that's beginning to develop, and it wouldn't surprise me if we don't hit it.
And another one that goes right with it is the 244 lead lap finishes in 2025, also the most ever through the first 10 races. I know I heard today at Talladega there were 28 cars that finished on the lead lap at Talladega.
It's amazing. Okay, now 4 races ended with the last lap pass so far this year. That's the most ever through 10 races. So those last lap passes, we got to be careful that we don't get too spoiled on that.
That is true. Now, unfortunately, 2025, though, is the second straight season that Richard Childress Racing has had only one top 5 finish after 10 races. Talked about Kyle Busch, his teammate Austin Dillon, off to we'll call it a slow start. It's not necessarily a horrible start like we've had a couple others, but definitely a slow start.
Yes, indeed. Now, the final stage was caution-free in each of the last 2 races this year. That's the longest streak in the stage era.
The 2024 NASCAR Cup Series champion Joey Logano's 284 laps led in 2025 are the most for a driver through the first 10 races without a top 5 finish since 2016, when Matt Kenseth led 347. He's one of those that has had we'll call that one a rough start.
Yeah. Joey Logano, too, has had a rough start to the season. He's the first defending champion without a top 5 finish through the season's first 10 races. The first defending champion. That's not a distinction that he wanted to have.
Most certainly not. And it parallels with the manufacturer there of Ford. We've talked about this quite a bit, but their 9 top 5s and 23 top 10s are the fewest since 2016. It was 8 top 5s and 18 top 10s, respectively.
Okay. Now, 4 of the 6 drivers with at least 6 top 10 finish in 2025 drive for Hendrick Motorsports. That's no surprise. Larson and Byron each have 7. Bowman and Elliott and Bell and Hamlin all have 6. So all of the Hendrick drivers are on that list.
And that is not a surprise with the season they're having.
No, it's not.
Now, a milestone to mark here this weekend at Texas. Eric Jones is making his 300th career Cup Series start this weekend at Texas. 8 different drivers have won in their 300th start, and that includes Kyle Busch at Texas in April of 2013. Jones is one of 5 drivers to make their 300th start at the age of 28 or younger.
Wow. All right. Now, Zane Smith's average finish through 10 races this year is 9 positions better than it was through the 10 races in 2024.
Bubba Wallace's 94 stage points through 10 races in 2025. That's his most ever by this point in a season, and it exceeds it by 25 points. So he's picking up on that stage racing technique.
Yes, indeed. And Ryan Blaney, he ranks 3rd in the 25 stage points earned so far this year at 92. That's 33%, or 1/3 of his points are stage points. So that's pretty remarkable for a driver to have 1/3 of their points coming from stage points.
And this one doesn't surprise me. It doesn't list who they are, but 5 of the 10 best pit crews in 2025 are Toyota teams. JGR, I know, puts a big focus on pit crews.
Yes, they do. Austin Cindric gave Team Penske their first win of the season in 3 of the last 4 years. So that's a nice stat for Austin Cindric. I think he gets overlooked as right now he's one of the better drivers of the 3 that are at Team Penske.
It certainly has been. I know the points may not show it, and we know, again, of the finishes for Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano don't necessarily reflect it. But, again, that's only Ford's second win of the year with the Wood Brothers, which is a Penske associate team or affiliate team.
Yes.
Now, Kyle Larson is second in passing, first in speed, third on restarts at 1.5-mile tracks in 2025.
That's a pretty strong showing. Ryan Blaney is first in speed at 1.5-mile tracks this year, but he has DNF so far in both races.
And that's that Ford luck right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ross Chastain has gained 21 positions on restarts at 1.5-mile tracks this year, which is the most of all drivers. That one is a surprise. Ross Chastain is not one of those I think of necessarily as restarters.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. currently sits 18th in the playoff standings, despite ranking 32nd in passing, 31st in speed, and having a 35th ranked pit crew this season. Yeah, that sounds pretty remarkable considering all of that.
Well, and I don't know who's doing the stats this year. These are definitely some interesting different stats they have. One more we got here is Bubba Wallace. His pit crew has gained him a net 37 spots on 4 tire pit stops this season, which is the most of all teams.
Let's talk about some of the other things that are happening at the track this weekend. Film and television star Shea Wiggum, best known for his standout roles in the acclaimed projects such as Boardwalk Empire, True Detective, Joker, and American Hustle, have been named the Grand Marshal for the NASCAR Cup Series race this Sunday at Texas Motor Speedway. The talented veteran actor co-stars with Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which will have a gala screening on May 14th at the 2025 Cannes Films Festival. So pretty cool that he's going to be at the race this weekend.
And the other primary dignitary role for the Wurth 400, presented by Liqui Moly, will be filled by Sebastian Wurth, who's chairman of the advisory board of the Wurth Group. He will serve as the honorary starter and wave the green flag to officially start the 11th race of the season. Benjamin Wurth, chairman of the supervisory board of the Wurth Group, will be a co-honorary race official alongside Moses Brings Plenty, who is best known for his portrayal of Mo in the Paramount Network's hit series Yellowstone.
Very cool. Okay, now former NASCAR Cup Series star Casey Kane will be at the track. He will buckle in as the honorary pace car driver and help lead the field to the green flag. Kane was an 18-race winner in the Cup Series and was part of the closest Cup Series finish in Texas Motor Speedway history. He was edged by Elliott Sadler by 28 thousandths of a second in the 2004 race there. I remember that. That was a close finish.
I do as well. So it's great to see him back just involved at the NASCAR level. We saw him in the Xfinity Series a week or two ago. So hopefully we get to see more of him. Now, football champion running back Spencer Tillman, he'll provide the pre-race invocation for the Wurth 400 presented by Liqui Moly. Tillman spent 8 years in the NFL with the Houston Oilers from 87, 80, and 88, and 92 and 94, and the San Francisco 49ers in 89 through 91. He was also an All-American and captain of the University of Oklahoma's 1985 national championship team. Tillman is currently a college football game analyst for Fox Sports.
Okay, well, another esteemed dignitary will be the national anthem singer. His name is Don Graves, who will be celebrating his 100th birthday the day prior to his appearance at the Cup Series race. He is a U.S. Marine veteran who is part of an exceptional group of living American heroes who took part in the successful invasion on the Japanese island of Iwo Jima during World War II. It will be Graves' second visit to Texas Motor Speedway to perform, having sung God Bless America prior in the 2023 Fall Cup Series playoff race. Pretty cool that he's going to be able to sing this national anthem this weekend.
There's several cool things there of celebrating his 100th birthday, as well as being part of our armed forces there from the Marine.
Yes.
That was part of Iwo Jima. So, yeah, most certainly want to give all honor to him that he deserves.
Absolutely. Now, we've got some more stats here. Some of them might be a little bit of repeats, but maybe given to us in a little bit different way to provide clarification or whatever. But the Cup Series drivers are arguably going to face the sport's most challenging 1.5-mile track when they head to Texas Motor Speedway for this Sunday's race. So we'll talk a little bit more about why that is a challenging track.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Last year's race at Texas contested over 400 miles. It produced that track record tying 16 cautions, which equaled a mark established in a 500-mile race in 2022. In fact, those 16 yellows constitute a NASCAR record for cautions in a 400-mile race on a 1.5-mile speedway.
The treachery of Texas lies in the distinctly different ends of the track, and we did talk about this. Turns 1 and 2 are flatter and slower, while turns 3 and 4 are higher banked and faster. Negotiating both sets of corners while maintaining pace can be a very daunting task. It's the same thing when you think about Darlington Raceway. It's like an egg-shaped track. They have a narrow end and a wider end. Well, this has to do more with the banking of the track, a flatter side versus a more banked side that makes it more challenging.
It most certainly does. A couple of drivers, though, that have figured it out, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch. 4 victories apiece are the only multiple winners at the track in the field for Sunday's race. And that is the first of 3 straight points events on 1.5-mile intermediate speedways. It's going to be followed by Kansas Speedway on May 11th and then Charlotte Motor Speedway on May 25th. We do have the all-star race in between there, but that'll be at North Wilkesboro.
Correct. Okay, now for Austin Cindric, last Sunday's race winner at Talladega Superspeedway, the string of intermediates represents an opportunity to continue the momentum he established at NASCAR's largest oval track. So we'll see if that happens. He tends to do very well on the super speedways, but we'll see if he's able to do that on the fast track of Texas Motor Speedway.
Now, here's where Sharon said, you're going to repeat some information, but there's a twist to it with some additional information. So we pointed out that 3 of the last 4 years, it's been Cindric who has been the first race winner for Team Penske, but yet his teammates Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney have combined to win the last 3 series championships. So when you win is obviously just as, if not more important as to how early.
Exactly true. Okay, now 9 different drivers have won those last 9 races at Texas, but Hendrick Motorsports drivers have won 3 of the last 4. Kyle Larson won from the pole in 21. William Byron claimed the victory in the playoff race in 23. Chase Elliott broke a 42-race drought with his win at Texas just last year. And we did talk about those exact same things. But it's going to be interesting to see if Hendrick Motorsports can keep that momentum going as well. They stand a better chance, I think.
I would have to agree. And NASCAR's most popular driver could use some popular luck or good luck on Sunday. Again, he hasn't won since that race. and his winless streak has now reached 37 races. So it'd be kind of ironic to break a second long winless streak at the same track.
At the same track, Texas Motor Speedway. But it sounds like Hendrick Motorsports has an edge there, Jay. Is that kind of the feel that you get from all of this?
Most certainly, but there's some other things that tie in. It's also one of those of at some point you feel like streaks have to be broken. I don't know if Texas in the start of these 1.5 miles is where we see Ford get over the hump of finishing races, but I would not count out Joey Logano in that number 22 Team Penske.
Yeah, Joey's good, and when the chips are down, these guys are going to find a way to make their car work. So we'll see if they figured it out. And you know, we've had Las Vegas was a 1.5 mile track, so they haven't really had a chance to kind of prevail on that size of track. So we'll see what happens. So 3 races this weekend in all 3 series. Racing at Texas Motor Speedway, along with our Nashville Fairgrounds race for the ARCA Menard Series East. Who's your pick for this race, Jay?
Favorite, I would have to try and distinguish amongst the Hendrick Motorsports. Again, Kyle Larson, kind of the favorite. I'll go with Chase Elliott of that group of the sentimental side of trying to break that winless streak.
I think I'm going to go with Chase Elliott on this one. I think he's going to make it 2 for 2.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like they've been gaining that momentum. I know Kyle Larson and William Byron already have it, unfortunately. The one I'd say is a dark horse, and again, depending on how you get into the definition of dark horse, it's been a while. He is a previous winner at this track for pole, but that would be Bubba Wallace. He's another one we've seen really been very solid and consistent, not top 5 in winning, but he's knocking on that door, and I think he might open it up at Texas.
Okay. And who's my dark horse? Kyle Busch. Because he's a previous winner there, he's not in the Hendrick Motorsports stable. We already made our Hendrick picks. But he might surprise some people and maybe come up with that win this weekend.
Well, and the good thing is we saw that speed from him at Talladega, and I know Richard Childress Racing obviously puts a lot into super speedway racing, but again, maybe they are starting to turn that corner as an organization, and it's good. They need to. I want to see it.
Yes, they do.
I think from the Ford camp of Joey Logano, and it could be Ryan Blaney as well, because they both, we mentioned how good they run. They're just not getting those finishes. So maybe that Texas is where they can lock it down and get it wrapped up at the end of a race.
Yes. Another driver that I'm going to call a dark horse, he's won on the 1.5 mile track. He's one of the few Ford drivers that were able to win on a 1.5 mile track. Riley Herbst. He's in a Toyota now, and he's racing 2311. So this is a dark horse, but it's possible. I'm just saying.
That's right. That came from the Xfinity Series notes because he was in a Ford at that time with Stuart Haas racing in the Xfinity Series. Yeah, that is correct, though, with that stat, but it was from the Xfinity side.
I think he was the only Ford to win at a 1.5 mile track on the Xfinity side. So, yeah.
Yep.
So keep an eye on him. He might not win, but I think he'll be up there contending. Well,
then if you're going to go that route of a new winner, I would have to say right now, I think it would be either Ty Gibbs. We've seen him kind of return to the form where he was at, or Ryan Preece. Preece, again, unfortunately, the DQ at Talladega negated his second place finish, but he was up there. And what we've seen, I hate to say out of RFK because it's not been the entire organization, but certainly from Ryan Preece so far this year. So that's another one that is on that verge of being your top 5 and contending every week.
Anything
All
else
right.
you want to mention here in the Cup Series before we move on, Jay?
Talking about the 1.5 miles, I know they say that's kind of the bread and butter meat of the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. And we got 3 of them in a row here as far as points races. So you kind of hit on it. I mean, this is where we're going to find out what the teams really got, the ones that are either already on top of it and continue to build on it, or those that are going to have to go back and say, hey, we need to look at some things and get our stuff together.
And I think that pretty much covers it, Jay.
Yeah, and with all that, and we said who we were going to pick we thought would win, and we each named like 5 or 6 drivers. That tells you how competitive things are. I love it. I love it. Be like, you really can't say because it's that competitive. It could be any one of those or 1 or 2 we haven't even mentioned.
That's true. Trying to cover all the ends. Okay, so definitely make sure you tune in for all of the races this weekend. We do have the previews out already for the Truck Series. They're racing on Friday night. We also have the preview out for the ARCA East Series. They're racing at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway on Saturday late. The Xfinity Series is racing earlier in the day on Saturday. That is out already. So also on Monday, we will be back to review all of the races that we've previewed at the end of this week. And we'll do all of those on Monday. We'll get 1 or 2 out on Monday night and the other 1 or 2 probably on Tuesday morning. But we will also have our NASCAR Hot Topic Sound Off. We talked about that at the beginning. Already a list of top topics for us to talk about, Jay. So we've got a lot to talk about at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and 7 o'clock Pacific time. It is a live stream, so you can participate with us. If you have hot topics you want to make sure we talk about, please be sure to let us know what that is, and we might even give you a shout out.
Most certainly. We'd love to hear from you. And Sharon, I always love and enjoy doing these, and we'll watch the races this weekend, get back together with you on Monday for hot topics. I think we're going to have a few more to add even after the Texas race, but we'll wait and see.
I think you're right, Jay. We'll have a few more on that list, and we'll probably have to pick and choose. But thank you so much for tuning in. We do appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll look forward to being back with all of these reviews on Monday. So stay tuned for more.
All right. Talk to you then.
We'll see you in the next video.